But what blesses me about music a lot of the times is the singer's tone and the way they execute.
You hurt their feelings, and instead of them communicating that, they are communicating a childlike behavior, even though they're whole adults.
Yes.
This, that. And I feel like what it says in the Bible, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
It's that part.
When you renew your mind and say, okay, you have a place in me, but you cannot take over.
Yeah. Because it's just like a body anxiety. It's just like mental anguish is no different than physical anguish, is what I'm learning. If you in this earth suit, you're going to have to manage that. It's not going anywhere. It's just like any other bodily function. We feel hunger. We have to go to the bathroom. So when you place it in its proper category, it's just anxiety and anger, mental anguish. Those we wouldn't be experiencing life if we didn't have those.
Exactly.
We would be dead. Like, that's a part of the human experience. You would be a robot. So he didn't take those things away. He just put them in their right place.
So you know what puzzle piece you're like, oh, this piece goes here, instead of allowing it to resonate here.
Yeah. Because you have what you buy into. And we think that because we feel a certain way in our body, we buy into that. So this is why people cheat on their spouses. Because this one made me feel a certain way in my body. And my spouse ain't doing that. Not realizing you just mad at your spouse, and pretty soon you about to be mad at this one too.
That part.
So it's when you think about it, this is why people shoot each other on the freeway and do all the road raging and do all the things that we do, is because we feel some type of way.
Can I also tap into this? What dog have you fed for so long? So I say this on my podcast all the time. Whatever you do frequently becomes your frequency. Absolutely. So if you're doing it over and over again, road rage, now your body is so used to, you're just reacting versus sitting back to say, this is not what it is.
Yep. And so when you said everybody's walking around like little kids, I'm a retired school bus driver. I retired from Clark County School District. I drove special needs buses for 16 years.
Okay, this is why I'm like, her face looks so familiar. I didn't saw her somewhere around town.
You see me somewhere?
Yes, ma'am.
So I did that. I retired because I had my baby.
Wow.
So I was home for a little while, but now my current profession, I work for a nonprofit, and we train foster parents.
Wow.
And as a result, I had to become a trauma-informed practitioner.
Yes, well, I was going to mention that and ask you about that.
Yes.
Because trauma-informed, just that part alone, and then we go practitioner, and your experience of trauma in the body.
Yes.
And you're processing it.
Yes.
How has that allowed you to speak with these parents or to identify the trauma and be able to work with someone to turn it around?
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes at work I'll get to share. It's such a free, because we get discussion, we get to speak freely, because we deal with a lot of heavy subject matter, right? And we get to know each other right away. We feel like family, because you have to. Going over that type of material, you kind of build a bond, and just to make it through some of that stuff. And my story ends up coming up sometimes, but the trauma informed is called TBRI, trust-based relational intervention. And it helped me to understand why I didn't want to sing. It helped me to understand why my parents, I saw, who were gorgeous people inside and out, I saw them execute beautiful behaviors, but at the same time, they were maybe 10 years old emotionally.
Because that's where their trauma initially happened, that they didn't get a chance to heal.
Baby, when I tell you, my mother and my father, there wasn't, if there was a meter of love toward one another, they had it. And I know they loved each other deeply and they could not live together.
Mm,
And it had everything to do with their emotional intelligence or lack thereof. It had everything to do with, I don't even understand how to manage this trigger
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
other than what violence.
Yes.
So my father, and so all of this stuff made sense, and it made sense of my experiences. It made sense of everything because I just couldn't understand why two beautiful people couldn't make it work and why they had no chill.
Mm.
You
No,
know?
no, you're talking to someone that now gets the opportunity quietly as they watch this podcast
Hmm.
to say, wait a minute, is this something that continuously triggers me? And now, can I go in my brain? What initially happened? Was I 9? Was
Right.
I 5?
Right.
Was I 3? And I learned to code it with maybe stimming. We say stimming, we all do it,
Yeah.
like when I'm doing something I may tap my leg.
Hmm.
But it has been able to balance me out so I can continue to move forward. What are those things? And we all have to look in that. That's where they talk about shadow work. I try not to do what everybody else saying, but it's really going internally and looking at those things that trigger you when
Yes.
somebody says something to you and everybody looking like they just said this and you're like, no, they said that. But that's the kid coming out remembering what they had experienced.
Yeah, because if you think about kids, and I just want to address the shadow work thing too. I want to address a lot because here's what I've learned. All of it is not, it's all one and the same. The only difference is the enemy loves to counterfeit.
Mm.
He's not a creative. God is the creative, right?
Yes.
So he takes God's material all the time
Yes.
and put a slap a different label on it.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
And so the only real difference is the source of the information and
Yes.
who you give them credit to and who you give glory to. Because
Hmm.
all of it falls under these are principles. I realize gravity, if I wanted to call gravity whatever they call it in Spanish, it's still gravity.
Come on.
Mira. Huh?
Come on.
And so whatever if I say book in English and I say biblioteca in Spanish, it's a book.
All right, sis. Come on.
You understand what I'm saying? And so
Yes.
what the enemy does is it's like he go on Timu and get God's stuff and put his label on it. It's so
And
shadow
make
work.
it cheap as hell. Excuse my
Listen,
language.
listen, it's all broke off. And so my point is all of that fall when we say those things, I realize like, no, that's God's concept. They just put something else. They're tapping into a different source and they putting a different label on it. But God says, examine yourself.
Yes.
He told us grow up, renew your mind, he said, acknowledge your own faults. He
Yes.
said to do that.
And
Develop the
know
mind of
thyself.
Christ. Yeah, develop the mind of Christ. Stop being so proud. And when you are triggered, don't act like it's their fault. It's in you.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
if a button got pushed, it's because you have buttons.
Oh, what they say, if you throw a rock in a pile of dogs, the only one that get hit is the one that hollers.
Yeah. Because one pastor right here, he said, why everybody pushing your buttons? How about getting rid of the buttons?
Ooh.
How about going buttonless?
Yes.
And so I
Yes.
said all that to say, I just want to acknowledge what you're saying because sometimes that's the trick of the enemy. He'll have us shy away from things that are actually beneficial because he done stole it and convoluted it and twisted it somehow.
I'm glad you said that because the word shadow work, people think it's bad, but what we have to understand it again, it's a part of us. If we go out and we don't see our shadow, something is wrong. And sometimes shadow is just the things behind the scene, is internally that maybe you don't need to disclose to people. Everything don't have to be front and center. So
Mm-hmm.
it's layers to this. It's some things that you need to discard, you
Mm-hmm.
need to remove, but it also is something for me when a baby is in the womb, it's dark. That's where it's cooking. People call that shadow work, but that's where things are cooking and producing, and then it comes out into the light. So it's duality in both sides. We just have to balance it when it turns one way or another, my perspective.
And the truth is, the Lord said we are born in iniquity and we're shaped. And so when we get here, we already have that nature that needs to be dealt with. Number one, if that sweet little precious baby, you see right away the other side, right? But also going back to the trauma piece, if your mother was stressed out with you in the womb, if she went through a
Yes,
lot of trauma in the womb, you're coming out traumatized. There's
yes.
babies right now that are at the methadone clinic trying to recover from fentanyl and all this other stuff. So what your carrier does while you're baking, it affects you. So just saying all that to say what the trauma, when you said that, triggered me when you said everybody's responding like 2-year olds, because what trauma does, it literally damages your brain. It changes your neural pathways.
Mm,
It cuts you can physically see, if you were to scan the brain, you can see the damage, and it cuts your actual age in half.
wow.
So if I'm 25, right? People think, and I'm fully developed, I got a couple kids, I got a job, whatever. If I'm depending on the amount of trauma I have or how many I've experienced, I'm literally could be operating as a 12-year-old.
Wow. It makes sense on so many levels,
Hmm.
but I don't think a lot of us are ready to really understand that because a lot of times that's the last thing that they want to acknowledge.
Yeah. And I used to wonder, I used to ask God, like, what's wrong with my people? Because I love us.
Yes,
I love Black
yes.
people. People think I'm from Guam, but I love Black people.
Okay. Yes.
And but I noticed, because all my love, that's who I am. It's all my loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I just noticed we had a special thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord, as I'm looking into it, and just real as I'm learning this material, and then I'm listening to certain people on certain podcasts about the African American experience, especially here, we are
Mm-hmm.
the most traumatized people on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
I will say this,
Hmm.
and we may disagree with
Okay.
this, that not only us, it is other nationalities that are also traumatized and
Hmm.
has also experienced, but we have probably felt hit our head and fell down first.
Hmm. And I'm speaking specifically in terms of the chattel slavery.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That specific event for Black people in particular, and the way that happened and the things we experienced. And you got to figure, if we're not dealing, because it's one thing that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even so much that it happened. It is what didn't happen after.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
Mm-hmm.
what did. There wasn't no shadow work going on. We just trying to survive.
It was no healing.
You
And it went
understand? What
from
no healing.
generation to
Yeah.
generation to generation. But may I say this? Because I always try to put a positive spin, not saying this is negative, but right now, today, anybody that's tapping in or will tap into in the future has the opportunity to heal you. And once you heal you heal the generations in front of you,
For sure.
and you also heal the generations behind you. So
For
it
sure.
starts with you.
It does. And I was saying that not as a, what do you call, a cop out
No,
or
no,
an
no.
excuse. I was saying it made sense. The questions I'd had growing up, just by observation, looking around, like, Lord, we got some special stuff going on. Like, yeah, we different. And I realized why. And it just kind of gave me a lot of aha moments, like,
Hmm.
oh, okay. And so You know, what's that? The law of inertia, that thing in motion will remain in motion until it comes in contact with something else. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of us don't get that opportunity, or we reject the because we're so immature and we can't manage that we're the problem,
Mm-hmm.
that we reject the people who might even be trying to speak into our lives or might even be trying to show us, or you on your eighth failed marriage and you still ain't
Yes.
want to process, you know, things, things of
Yes.
that nature. You don't have no friends, you know.
Yes.
And so it's funny because all of it just everything just made so much sense
Mm-hmm.
between the word and between understanding trauma
Mm-hmm.
and how it affects your choices.
Mm-hmm.
It just all it helped me to understand it. I became more compassionate toward myself
Wow.
because sometimes you look around, you're like, man, I should be and I should be, and why am I not? Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of compare and
Mm-hmm.
begin to wonder, like, okay, well, why didn't I make that decision? Why I didn't, you know? And you, and if somebody busting your door right now, say, Halima, it's an active shooter, right? You're not going to continue this podcast,
No, I'm not.
and
I'm not
you,
gonna even say, you just gonna see me be like, what? And then we'll talk
ma'am.
about this later.
So imagine that's what happened to us. Our nervous system, or in general, people who are traumatized, our nerve. We this is we have to explain about the children that people are going to care for. Somebody activated their nervous system, put it in survival mode, and it never got out.
And you can't live like that. You can't operate like that. You cannot truly tap into what the world has if you're like that. It's like you're
You can't create. You can't learn. You can't grow, mature. You can't dream. You can't
mm,
have a vision for your life. If you don't think you're going to be here in the next few minutes, you're definitely not thinking about 3 years from now.
yeah, yeah.
And though the threat ain't even there no more, the effect of it is.
Wow. I feel like we're going to definitely have to have you on again. No, just to talk about, because I can only speak from my experience, my life experience, the things that I know. That is your, I always say, sometimes I'm the teacher and sometimes I'm the student.
Hmm.
Well, today I'm the student with listening to you and give this perspective. And hopefully this will perk someone heart to say, is it really me?
It really means.
Is it really me? But this is what I do believe. And you may not like this, but this is my truth. If someone don't want help, it is a waste of your time and my time. It has to come to a point where it hurts so bad. That's just like somebody on drugs. It has to hurt so bad till they say, I'm willing to do the work. Because you cannot tell them if they're not ready.
No, you can't do nothing for them. Now, for the kiddos, we're encouraging the parents. And here's why we say kiddos specifically, because they don't have the life experience, they don't have the tools, right? We can't expect much. They're like an emotional body cast. You can't expect much from a child who just hasn't had the opportunity to even develop enough to know that they need help or need to
Mm-hmm.
make. So we encourage them. You just have to love them through it because their
Yes.
lens has been damaged. So everybody has a different time frame for when they heal. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're just giving the parents a heads up to not put a due date on their healing.
I like that. And are you speaking only from the children that may have disabilities, or are you speaking in general?
I'm saying trauma causes you to operate as if you do have it. It damages your brain. And we try to get them to understand it's not that your kid won't behave, they can't right now.
Mm,
Once somebody walk in and say active shooter, like Halima she know how to regulate. She know how to check and make sure if the threat is real. She knows if she need some water. She knows if she got to do some breathing, some stretching, whatever it is to bring herself back to a calm space. She's
correct.
aware of that and she has the capability of doing that. A 4-year-old doesn't.
Okay.
A,
Great point.
8-year-old doesn't, right? And they haven't even lived enough life to have had enough so experience. But I will say this, and I won't hold you past your time. I didn't know how much time you allotted,
No, no, that's fine.
but the beauty of trauma, because what you're saying about when you have an able-bodied adult, you can't force healing on somebody. You can love them and support them as long as they are willing, right? Because we have to give, everybody has a level of autonomy you have to respect,
Yes.
and everybody has choices that there will be consequences for.
Yes, ma'am.
Even children can't even do whatever they want.
Say that.
There's consequence. There's juvenile hall. There's boarding
Mm-hmm.
school. There's whatever there is that
Mm-hmm.
you know. I said all that to say that the only place that trauma is healed is in relationship.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I've
that's what.
never heard that before.
Yes, there's no surgery for it. You can't take a pill for it. You cannot massage trust into people. You can't convince them to trust you. All the only thing that you can, this is for adults and children. It applies to both. It's just that with adults, they have that autonomy to do whatever. Kids kind of are at your mercy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you have to do it until,
Wow. That
because you like
no,
that.
no, 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 no. It makes sense.
Hmm.
Continue.
You have to do it until, because everybody's different. Everybody's trauma is different. Everybody experiences, and they learned early on that I can't trust, the world is not trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
now you have to show up consistently and lovingly over time, however long that takes, for their actual to create new neural pathways.
Mm,
So it actually heals their brain, and you only have to get it right 40% of the time. So you don't even all the way have to be perfect.
wow.
Yeah.
I'm
So
glad you said that because I always like to end on a positive note that people say, oh, you can only do this, you can't get this back. I believe anything, when I say anything, is possible. And
yeah,
the mere fact that you said only 40%, of course, we're going to aim for
for
the
sure.
highest, but that's a good scale to say you can try to get to that point.
Hmm.
And 40% is a great way to get to 50 and so on and so on.
Yeah. Because think about it, 40% is a D, almost an F in any other context.
Don't say that.
That's a fail in any other context. But
Yes,
I feel
ma'am.
like the Lord is so merciful. He knows what he's doing. And he said all it takes is one stable, consistent person in a child's life, or even in an individual's life, to show like, oh, you really do love me. I really can trust you. And that begins to change their neural pathways in their brain. And
And
they
then they
begin
can
to
begin to love their self.
grow, and they begin to learn, and they begin to dream and do and all the things.
Wow. Well, I have to clap you up for I I wasn't even expecting all of this. No, no, I'm saying this in a great way. I said at the beginning, the pre-show, I said we're gonna let it do what it do, and it did what it did, okay?
What it did.
And I'm so excited because it gets multiple people, including myself, to think about things, behaviors, patterns, and why does this particular thing trigger you so very much?
Yes.
So this has been so informative, but we're going to get back into this other boat.
Okay.
When I say about music, I told you music has turned me out in such a wonderful way.
Yes.
Can you identify a song that you were able to purchase all on your own without anybody influence? You was like, oh, I'm going to get that song, whether it was for birthday money, cleaning your room, whatever, but you
Yeah.
did it without any influence of anybody.
Yes. So I believe, now I was gifted a CD. SWV was my very first first CD. Someone gifted, like, let me use their, they had that old block, big old CD
Yes.
portable thing. This the early 90s. But I think my first purchase had to be, it might have been two at a time, but I remember these very closely. It was either Brandy, her first CD, or Faith Evans' first one.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
so it was
right.
one of those two, or it was at the same time, but I bought them very close together if I didn't buy them at the same time. Yes.
Oh, well, now I got to pick. I got to go in a little deeper. Can you identify a song that you really enjoyed and give me a few lyrics, whether it was from Brandy or from Faith Evans?
It's funny because when I think about their songs kind of, it was more their voice.
Mm.
It was their tone. I pay attention to lyrics and beat and all that. All that has to be working. But what blesses me about musics a lot of the times is the singer's tone and the way they execute. So
Mm.
their choices they make with the runs and placement. And so Faith Evans and Brandy, they're really, really different, but they have it's so weird. Faith Evans one, and I'm in high school, so I don't even know why this song resonate. Um, she said, I've got 3 children to think about first. I've got so much to do and little time to work. I've paid my dues, as you can see. Been in all kind of drama in my life series. The world needs to know that and she sings about you know what I realized, just singing that made me realize why I related to it. She's talking about the single mom struggle,
Ha.
and that's what I grew up in. That's what I grew up seeing. But it was weird that I loved it that much in high school. I hadn't had that experience, but I
But
lived
you
it.
could connect with it.
Yeah, but she was saying, how she said, all kind of trauma, gotta move on, gotta be strong, can't let no one get me down, no, no, problems may come, problems may go, can't let no one get me down, no, it's something like that.
I clap you up, girl, because you know you did that. You know, listen, everybody can't do Faith and everybody can't do Brandy because they are the run queens, and both of them. She has the high, and Brandy has that lower register. And I'll just go, okay, mm-hmm. And I'm not a singer, so I'm a hum to the part that I know I can't do. Okay.
Yeah, but their tone and their execution and the choices they make in a song is what blessed me. Yes.
I love it. And tell us the name of that Faith Evans song.
It was her first CD. I don't even remember what the name of it is. It's almost didn't even feel like a full song. It felt like a long interlude almost. Like she was
Mm.
just pouring her heart out. But that I just loved the way she executed that message because I realized, oh, I related to that even as a younger person.
Yes.
Hmm.
Wow. Let's just go back and talk about things that we didn't know about. And I say that it is plenty of songs that I have jammed to, and I'm like, ooh,
Hey, 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 hey.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
then one day I go, wait
Wait a minute.
1 minute. I've been singing that song, and it means that.
Hmm.
Can you identify a song that you may have sung all your life, and then one moment you realize what it's all about?
Yeah, I had to actually research this when you asked the question because there's a few that, first of all, it was all of my mother. She was a music connoisseur like you, so I think it kind of was her calming places because we constantly had music, whether it
Oh,
was in,
yes.
I don't care what was going on, we had some music. But she listened to Patti LaBelle, um, what's that baby name? Stephanie Mills,
Oh,
Luther Vandross,
mm,
In Vogue,
mm.
Gina Bell.
Ooh.
Uh, what's that baby talking about? She just all of it was not appropriate for me now that I think of it. And they no, back in the day they wasn't cussing.
No, no.
It wasn't no 50 filthy foul stuff. But when you
Uh-huh.
hone in on them lyrics, it's like I ain't know nothing about that. And I'm singing it to the top of my lungs.
Yes, ma'am.
Ain't
Yes,
had a
ma'am.
bit of man. Look.
Well, we talk about this all the time that initially when we're singing the song, going back, tone, cadence, the energy of it. But you get a little bit of experience of life
Baby.
and you go, oh my God.
Hmm.
And maybe that was your mother part of self soothing herself.
Yeah.
and that was able to get her balanced.
Yeah.
And it was just you're singing it and not knowing. Do you have one song that you
Yeah.
can just think about?
The one I thought about was it was two actually. It was been so long. I'm missing you, baby. Been so long. I'm missing you, baby. That something about that run Anita Baker did.
Wait a minute, you did that so good. Come on, girl. Come on.
And
I,
when she used to scat and stuff, and I
yes.
won't do it. You can't make me do it. Like her little choices, it was her. It was all her little. I had no idea it was jazz, and she was kind of doing some scatty type stuff. I had no idea. That's actually those are the people who taught me how to sing. Actually, like
Really?
all the people I just mentioned, like Freddie Jackson and Luther Vandross and Stephanie Mills and all those old school, they taught me how to sing because I just spent most of my life mimicking them. So the
Wow.
runs that I can do and the things that I can do with my voice have everything to do with it would be I wouldn't stop until I could do it. It was
Okay.
like a challenge. Yeah.
Can I tell you a secret?
Uh-huh.
I loved all those people and I sung all those songs and I can't do it. Okay. So let me just say this. I know where my talent lies and it's
Yeah.
not with that. So that's why
Okay.
I get geeked. I literally you don't know, just you doing that. I'm like, yes, I'm missing you, baby. I mean, come on, girl. You would, you just, oh my gosh. So I say that now. Do you love Jill Scott?
You know what? I have an appreciation for Jill because I recognize her gift, but it's weird. There's certain people that a lot of people adore that I just didn't gravitate to, and I think it has everything to do with that. I think what do you call it? I don't even know how to explain it. There's just certain ones I gravitated to,
Yes.
but Jill is amazing.
Yes, yes.
I
Because,
didn't buy her. She wasn't the one where I was going to rush out to get her music, but I recognized her greatness, if that makes sense.
okay, and I respect that. Now, just because you gave some stuff, you know, you got, ooh, when I got to tap in, I'll be like, Kate Ashley, you be like, Halima, listen, I need to talk to you. You just did it so effortlessly. I love it. You definitely, like I said, have a gift because I didn't sung all those songs and I don't sing nothing like that. So let me just ask you this. Can you identify a song when your spirit is low? Because we all, as we talked about, navigating these life waters where we may get caught up or we have those moments where we're overwhelmed. We're not without that, none of us.
Mm-hmm.
What song can you pull on because your mom is not available, your husband's not available, you sitting in the car and you say, I need to get this together real, real fast. What
Mm-hmm.
song can you pull on to pull your spirit up?
For me, it's when I actually sing the songs. And I think I might have sang this one at the thing too. It's something about let praises rise. But now on the secular side, I still when I tell you, when I say healing in their voice, for me,
Come on,
that
tell me.
baby, what's that baby name from Soul to Soul? Carolyn Wheeler? Is that her
Yeah,
name?
I think so. Girl.
It's something in her throat. It's something in Carolyn. Oh, is it Carolyn or Carol? I don't know. But when I hear back to life, back to reality, something about when as soon as it hits, it does something. It's the beauty, it's like precision and it's beautiful and it's airy, but I can't describe it. But she has something going on in her vocal goodness that
Yes.
soon as you hear, however, do you need me? Tell me now. Who, baby? Yeah. Like all that stuff she was doing.
You are playing with me, sis. Oh my gosh. Listen, I need you to know the palms of my hand is wet. Okay? When I said at the very beginning, you came out on the stage and God said, let me send the angels with you. this is prime example. People are going to see what I was saying just by what you have done. Stop playing with me. Oh my gosh. And you've
Yeah.
given such a variety of different genres and different things. And I absolutely love, like, I'm really geek. I am really geeked. Okay.
And
You
I
have,
appreciate the fact that I didn't grow up in church. So I had my whole life. So I came to the Lord at 23. Nobody forced me. Nobody would have me drug me in church. Nobody would slap me upside the head with the Bible. And I'm so thankful because now I have a genuine relationship with the Lord. It's my choice. It's not what my family expects of me.
yeah.
So I say all that to say the majority of the first half of my life I spent listening to all these great voices. So it even affects the way I sing my worship.
I love that because, again, what I said before, when you have life experience,
Yeah.
you can now minister to someone, even in a song that is just only talking about the Lord. But for some reason, that string connects to the person that only know what
Yeah.
they know
That's it.
because of the music. So I'm really excited that because you love the Lord, you still understand that there's multiple parts of you and you're still willing to share that. And that is beautiful, my perspective.
Yes. Yep.
Well, but I have one last question, but before
Yes.
I do that, can you please share any upcoming events that you have, any social media links or things that if they want to tap in and find out what Kay Ashley is available.
Okay, sounds good. I just had to fix up my website. I said she might ask me. So I'm at kashmusic.com. So KAYASH. My last name is Ashley, but I just said kashmusic.com. And you'll find my Instagram there. You'll find my YouTube there. You'll find my Facebook link there. You'll find a link to my very first single I put out in 2021. I got so many songs to get out. Y'all pray for me. And and you'll find where you can connect with me via email. But you can connect with me through all the socials and all the things. But if you want to go straight to YouTube, it's K Ashley Music. My single, I have the recorded version and the live version on there. I've sang, we didn't even get to this part, but I've sang for the last 3 years at the T-Mobile for the national anthem.
This was on my list to talk about
Yeah,
stadiums and all that, but
yeah.
guess what? This won't be the
It's not the
last.
last. So it because it's a whole nother story behind that. Me and you gonna have 3 episodes because there's
Well,
so
that
much to unpack.
listen, I'm ready. And just so you know, I didn't have time, but I wanted to say I knew you were special
Mm,
from the very point that I met you coming up that aisle. Again, I just say it and I was locked in. And when you touched and we hugged and you said yes and we exchanged numbers, but more than this, 7 is my favorite number.
come on.
Not only is 7 my favorite number, you're born the same day as my son, firstborn, December the 7th.
Stop that.
Girl, I'm over here. I was like, Lord, you really talking to me because nothing is an accident, okay?
Stop it. Wow.
Yes. So I just wanted to say my eyes were wide open to really talk to you. And when I saw her birthday is what? December 7th?
That's
On my
crazy.
favorite number. So you are absolutely special. I feel like nothing is by accident. I'm just honored that I had the opportunity to talk with you today and for you to be transparent and for me to be the student and
Yeah.
learn from you. And before we get out of here, I do have this one last question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you dedicate a song to the world that represents parts of you or all of you? What song would you dedicate to the world?
Mm. It's called He Loves Us. And it's a simple song, it's a worship song, but I think that was the pivotal. You know how I mentioned it takes one stable, loving relationship to heal trauma?
Yes.
The Lord has been that for me. It
Mm,
hasn't been, He's used individuals in different ways, but that consistent, love, that 10 toes down love,
Come on.
when you raggedy love,
Huh.
when you scary love. He
Yes.
dealt with me being afraid for 17 years.
Wow.
He didn't have to do that. He
Yes.
could have been looking at me like, you still don't believe? And so I say all that to say, when I look back over my life, he's always just been keeping me. I just wasn't. I have a verse of a song that I wrote, and I said, when I look back over my life, you were there before I realized. Like I just didn't know. I didn't know it
Yes.
was you that didn't allow me to
Yes.
because I had pneumonia as a newborn. I've been hit by a drunk driver twice. I've been
Ooh.
rear-ended. 6 weeks after I came out of the hospital. First of all, I didn't tell y'all, after that septic shock, you know what I left with?
What?
My clothes and some ibuprofen. That's what they sent me out of there with. They didn't even say, hey, come back. Let me check you every 6 weeks. Let me check your liver.
Nothing.
Baby, I walked out with my baby, my bag, and some ibuprofen.
Girl, you can't tell me you got an assignment on this earth. I don't care what nobody says, just from that story alone. And then you're saying all these other things. You are really speaking to someone. A lot of times people go through things and they think, not me. I cannot be of service. You're a prime example. Yes, you. And you're here for a reason.
Yeah. Yep. And my only thing is, you never know when the moment is. And at your moment, when you are saying it can't and it ain't and it'll never, you still lying.
Mm,
So no matter if you saying my life is gonna be amazing, I'm gonna be a gazillionaire, I'm gonna buy everybody homes, I'm gonna be a philanthropist, I'm gonna be healthy, I'm gonna be wealthy, I'm whatever it is, and then you say, well, I'll never get out of this rut, and I'll never find love, and I'll never find community. Both of them are lies. You can't verify either one on paper. That's why one of my favorite phrases that Jesus said, the work is to believe.
ooh,
Because it don't matter that I died for y'all if y'all don't believe it. It's null
mm,
and void. It doesn't matter that the Lord sent Hallema to bless my life if I don't trust her. If I
mm,
see her through the lens of everybody else, why she won't interview me?
mm,
What she really won't. You
mm-hmm.
understand? If I
Yes.
if I let trauma speak, and if I call it signing Satan's consent form,
Ooh,
because he'll talk you out of everything that the Lord has. And the Lord
yes.
only has beautiful things for us.
I, now that I do agree, it's always only beautiful thing. We just get trapped or distracted about the things that
Yeah.
are not good for us.
Yeah. Now we have to go through things, and his
Yes.
and his process don't look like we want it, so we accuse him of not being loving. But I'm on the other side of all the stuff I just told you.
Yes. What a wonderful, I just really, I don't know what I thought I expected, but you, you have definitely changed that. I usually have my little spiel that I give on the very back end where I talk about the journey and the destination, but I'm not doing that today.
You're not gonna do it?
No, no,
I
ma'am.
want to
I'm
hear
gonna,
the journey destination
well,
speech.
just because you asked, I will.
Okay.
So I talk about the journey and the destination. The journey is where we learn and where we grow. The destination is where we celebrate. Far too often, we don't celebrate the things that we have accomplished, the things we have worked through. We have to have a time to celebrate. But when it's all said and done, we can't celebrate forever. We got to get back into that journey so
Yeah.
we can learn, we can grow, and we can elevate. With my men that come on, I salute them. With my women, I bow. So I bow to you, beautiful lady. And I thank you so much. I want you to give us last words, but can you give us last words in a song? I'm asking for too much, but guess what? I'm bold enough to do it. Yes. Oh,
Um, there is a name that is so precious. A name so wonderful to me. This name is worthy of all praises. Because of him, I am made free. That name is Jesus. Oh, how I love him, the one who gave his life for me because of love. So unconditional, I do have life eternally.
You guys, please put your hands together and thank my phenomenal special guest, Miss Kay.
It's the roundabout clap. I love it.
I have to put it in. That's just my thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And as I say to all of my guests, I'll see you out here in these Las Vegas streets.
Hey, thank you so much. Love y'all.
Thank you.